marks.
He can
गो अहेड यार स्ट्रीम कर
Okay.
मेरे को टेस्ट करना है वहाँ पे हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है no I want to see if he's able to hear or not on the phone just keep
it started and you have to open the PPT and speak on it. That's it. It's like
hello everyone we are all getting ready and at 4 o'clock we will start this presentation thank you
Thank you.
Coffee, tea, sir?
No, matcha is fine.
hello testing 1 2 3 Hello, good evening everyone, to all the students who have joined for this webinar. And as you are aware, the topic of the webinar today is sport event management and diplomacy. As a part of showcasing our faculties who come from France to teach the elective subjects, we conduct many webinars. And this is the second webinar which we are doing. And the format of this webinar would be the faculty will speak for 30 to 40 minutes. Post that, we will take any questions or queries you have. Faculty will introduce himself, handing it over to the faculty.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julien Montel. I have an experience and a background in sport management, including working in sport events on the both with the sports movement, including organizing committee, federation, but also working closely with the local authorities and the government. So the conference is about hosting sport events for a city of our country. What are the opportunities and what are the challenges? First, as an introduction, sports is a developing sector, an emerging sector. Almost $800 billion US dollar as an industry in the world. Along the sports sector, the event sector is an important part, a strong component of the industry. But today, I will focus the presentation on what we call international events. An international event is owned by international federation or the IOC. It's owned by the recognized international federation or the International Olympic Committee. And before going in detail into the potential outcomes, I really need to present you the basic ecosystem of an international event. The owner at the top left of the slide, the International Federation, for a specific event will define the requirements. For example, the capacity of the venues, the standard of the hotels for the players. International Federation define also the bid process, how the International Federation will select the host country. And after the bid process, the International Federation will delegate the organization of the event to the host federation. So the relation is between the International Federation and the host federation. For example, in football, it will be between FIFA and the Russian Football Federation. At the center of the ecosystem, you see the host federation. The host federation should go and obtain the support of the government, mainly for guarantees and financial support, and also as a public authorities going to local authorities, host cities, for venues, transportation, and again financial support. When the International Federation is going to award the event to a host federation, the host federation will create an organizing committee, OC, to deliver the event. This is the basic ecosystem of an international event. Because to understand the outcome and after the challenges and success factor, it's important to have in mind that the responsibilities are clearly defined between all these stakeholders. So we are going to focus not on the International Federation, but the host country ecosystem, including host federation, government, host cities, and organizing committee. So there will be two parts in the presentation. The first part will be the potential effect of a sports event on a city and or on a country. The second part will be the challenges and success factors to reach the objective that have been defined. So let's start with the effect of a sport event on a city and a country, potential effects. The first one is with a sport event, you can showcase your city, your country worldwide. You promote your brand as a city or as a country because with an audience of billions of viewers of the live game, of the live sport event, you have the opportunity to showcase the quality of your territory, and beside and beyond the live coverage, you have also an additional coverage on the news of what's happening in your city and in your country. According to the event, of course, the exposure and the audience can change. The two top events are obviously the FIFA World Cup and the Summer Olympic Games. It's also, with the sport events, you welcome and you host tourists. It can be ticket holders, but also some media, some sponsors, some foreign visitors who come in your country. So it's the opportunity for you to make them live an experience in your country and maybe trying to make them come back in the future. The survey after many events in New Zealand in 2011 for the Rugby World Cup, in France for the Euro 2016 in football, show that the tourists who came to the country to attend to the sport events really want to come back in the near future. And the third part is the expertise, because when you are organizing an event, all the spotlights are on you. So if you manage to successfully organize the event, you will send a message of reliability, confidence, efficiency to the world. And in the future, you can bid for a new event with a certain advantage because everybody will know that you are able to organize efficiently a sport event, or in a way the staff who worked for the event will be able to sell their expertise abroad, and it will be like an exportation, like export for the city or the country. So first effect, to showcase the city and the country worldwide. The second potential effect is to stimulate the economy. Stimulate the economy is the first component in the organization, meaning that to organize an event, you will work with suppliers, with hotels, with restaurants for your population. So, and yes, hotel, but also security companies, entertainment companies, all the, let's say, event sector, economic sector. So organization can be an important part of the economic impact. Tourism, we have just talked just before the fact that you showcase your country to the tourists, and when they are in your country, the tourists, of course, spend money in addition to the ticket for the event. So it will be a benefit for the tourist sector. It will be a benefit because people will go to restaurants, will go to the hotels, maybe will use Airbnb to accommodate, but it will be an expensive at the benefit of your territory. The third part is the construction. Not all sports events require to construct and to build a venue, but some of them, Olympic Games, FIFA World Cup, you can have to build some venues, or in the case of the game, the village. For the challenge to stimulate the economy and to have the maximum impact is on two major factors. The first factor is try to maximize the percentage of the local or national supplier. Try to find local companies for the organization of the games or of the events. Otherwise, you will have outgoing flow from your territory at the benefit of external stakeholders. So first one, try to maximize the local supplier. And second one, try to increase and to maximize the percentage of the foreign income. Income coming from foreign tourists, but also from foreign sponsors and from foreign stakeholders, whatever they are. By maximizing the percentage of the local supplier plus the percentage of the foreign income, you will have a maximum impact. To give you examples, for example, for the Euro 2016 in France, the economic impact was 1.2 billion euros, approximately half organization and half tourism. No specific construction for the Euro. It was an ex post study. For the Olympic Games in Paris in 2024, the ex ante study presented three scenarios: best case scenario, worst case scenario, and average scenario. For the best case scenario, it will be more than 10 billion euros, with the majority of the impact coming for the event sector, organization, after tourism and construction. The stimulation of the economy creates job opportunities. Job opportunities in the restaurants, for example, for the tourists, and in the event sector, event economic sector, like security and other jobs specifically dedicated to the organization of the event. The third impact, so first impact was the promotion of the brand, promotion of the country, showcasing of the country. Second impact, economic. Third impact, social impact. Social impact, the first effect can be the increase in the sport participation. With the sports event and all what can happen before, during and after the event, you have all the assets to develop sport participation. In the sports, for example, if you are hosting rugby, you can hope to have an increase in the rugby participation, but more generally in all sports. The Rugby World Cup in France in 2007, the increase was quite spectacular for the rugby clubs, with around 20% the next season. The social impact can also be collective. First one, with sport participation, is more individual social impact. The second one could be a powerful leverage for identity and unity. The first example, with the photo of Nelson Mandela and François Pinard, is one of the most powerful example in the world of sport. In 1995, after the end of the apartheid, the country of South Africa hosted the Rugby World Cup. Rugby in South Africa was the sport of the Afrikaner, of the white people. Nelson Mandela, the shirt, the jersey you can see on the picture, is the jersey of François Pinault, a pure Afrikaner, 100% Afrikaner. South Africa won the World Cup, and it was one of the first events, the first opportunity to gather all South African all together behind a national team. And because it was the sport of the white, the role of Nelson Mandela was very important in that matter. The second example is London 2012. Some interesting survey show that in Great Britain, Welsh and Scottish people felt more British than before the games, because the pride to have host the game in London and the pride of the result of Team Great Britain, as a consequence, the feeling of belonging to the Great Britain was much higher after the London game than before. A major sport event is also a volunteer program. A volunteer program is one of the cornerstones of an event. For example, in the London games, there were 70,000 volunteers involved in the delivery of the games. So you imagine with this kind of program how you can reach people within your different communities to mix old generation with young generation, to mix different origin, different neighborhood. If you consider the volunteer program as a tool for your social policy, it can be very effective and very efficient. And the last one is how a country is proud of its national team and as a spontaneous demonstration of national unity. For London, it was more a survey to demonstrate that the people felt more British than before the game. When you're organizing an event in your country and your country, the national team is successful, you can have a great leverage for identity and unity. And last category of effect is how you can transform a neighborhood. The first picture is the former Olympic Stadium in London transformed into the West Ham Stadium for a professional football club. The second photo on the top right is the Olympic Village in Buenos Aires for the Youth Olympic Games, and with new housing, new accommodation, with the opportunity to have affordable rates and affordable price for the local population. The picture at the bottom left is the Stade de France. Stade de France was built for the FIFA World Cup in 1998, and since the opening of the Stade de France, there are many positive aspects in the development of this part of Paris. And last one, to give you an idea, it's not only about venue, not only about accommodation, it's the airport of Saransk in Russia. So Saransk, with the FIFA World Cup, small but operative airport was built. So now, for a country, for a city, what are the challenges and success factors to maximize the effect? The first one is to be sure to define the permanent needs in terms of infrastructure. It's very important that hosting a sport event must not create a need in terms of infrastructure. Not create the need. The need should be latent, should be there. Hosting a sport event can accelerate the planning, find additional public financing. It's a way also to showcase the venue and to promote the venue in order to attract other events. It can be a leverage to unify all the stakeholders, to have a leading role to make all stakeholders work together, but it cannot create the need, because a sport event, after the closing ceremony, there is no more activity. So it's important to avoid white elephant like in Montreal, in Athens, in Rio. It's very important for a local or national authority to be sure that the need and the requirements of the sport event meets your long-term requirements for your country or for your city. And to do that, you have to define the operating and economic models to run the venue or the village or the airport after the event. You cannot wait after the event to define what will be the content of the venue, a professional club, other kind of events, and economic models. Who will run, what will be the income, what will be the expenses for the venue. You cannot wait after the event. So first challenge, define the permanent needs and try to identify the event that you can host. The second one is a clear definition of the roles and responsibilities within the country. We can say that you have two parts. The first part is to deliver the event. Okay, deliver the event is the responsibility, the core responsibility of the organizing committee. Organizing committee will focus on what's happening inside the competition venue and will deliver the services to the accredited population. Accredited population, it's the teams, the media, the officials, and the referee, for example, and the international federation, all accredited population. Public authorities are also involved in the delivery of the events, because security outside the venue, transportation outside the venue for the general public, immigration, visa, customs, all these functions are part of the delivery of the event, but are the responsibility of public authorities. And so first, the delivery of the event. And regarding the impact and legacy you can have, you have to involve the national federation and the clubs. For example, for handball, for the World Championship in 2017 in France, one of the objectives was to improve and to develop the professional clubs. But if you want to do that, you cannot avoid, you have to make sure that they are on board. And the public authority, regarding what we have talked about social impact, it's a responsibility of the public authorities to work with the schools, for example with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, trying to increase the sport participation with health objectives. So it's very important as a success factor to clearly define who does what in the process of organization. The third one is to ensure that you have available resources. Two main categories of resources. First is financial resources. During the process, public authorities are giving some guarantees to the international federation. You have to fulfill your commitment. You cannot say, oh, finally, I don't have the resources. You have to respect what you have guaranteed to deliver the event. And the second part is almost like a sponsor. You know, when a sponsor is buying a right, for example, it will be FIFA sponsor, he will pay a certain amount, but for each euro you pay for the right, you have to anticipate that you will spend at least €1 to activate the sponsorship. It's the same thing for a public authority. You have to have some additional budget to implement additional project and increase the impact. Don't be greedy. If you are greedy, you will not have any significant impact. You have to anticipate this need. And it's better to organize one event with additional resources rather than two events without resources. The second category of resources is human resources. Within the public authorities, it's very important to have experienced staff dedicated to the event strategy. They will work with the organizing committee. They will work also within the administration, working, for example, with the Ministry of Education, with the Ministry of Culture, within a public local authority, with the Department of Tourism. So it's important for a public authority to have a dedicated team, experienced staff that will understand also the global ecosystem. The fourth success factor is to involve the population. The first category are the sport participants of the discipline. For example, you organize a badminton event. Badminton players will be the first group of your population that will be involved in the event. You also after have the sport participant in general, not only badminton but all sport participants. And after you have the residents in general. And the opportunity to involve the population, the opportunities are quite wide. You have jobs, either in the organizing committee or in the supplier, in the supply chain. You have volunteer programs. You have additional projects. For example, you can work with the schools to have a maximum impact on the youth. And also, in relation with the organizing committee, you should be aware that you must provide affordable tickets for your population, discussing with the organizing committee. The fifth challenge and the fifth success factor is to break the silo into the administration. The tendency and one of the pitfalls of administration is to work in silo. Like for example, education, we only work education with educational ecosystem. Culture, the same. Tourism, the same. But with a project like a sport event, an international sport event, you can manage to create opportunities to work transversally, to involve everybody on the project. Because the sport event should not remain a sport matter. Sport event should go outside and beyond sport. The sixth one is, as far as it's possible, to not rely on sport results. The first picture on the left is the English national team for rugby. In England 2015, they were the home team and they were supposed to reach at least the semi-finals and they lost in the first round. However, the Rugby World Cup in England was a great success for the home country. But not really on sport result, but also enjoy when your home team is winning, which is New Zealand in 2011. Because when your home team is winning, the effects are much more higher in terms of unity or involvement, engagement of the population. And the last one, it's one of my background, so it's important to take the bid seriously. Many people, many administration think that the bid process the candidature is only to win. Of course, when you are bidding for an event, you want to win. But not only to win, you want to prepare the foundations of the organizing committee to be sure to have the budget, including public financing, the human resources, to work, to partner with host cities. You cannot say, okay, I bid only to win, because you will write some untrue things, you don't have the guarantee. As a conclusion one, we can say that hosting a sport event is a new form of wedding. You have to find the right fit. In the bid, it's like the seduction, mutual seduction. Maybe sometimes you look better, you look a little better than you are in reality because you want to seduce the other one. It's true for the international federation that will present the best aspect of the event, but it's also true for the host country who will show the best asset of the country. So the phase of seduction could be the bid. And after the marriage, after the organizing committee was created, we can say that both parties, the host country and the international federation, must love the qualities of the other party. Love the qualities. Host city must love the quality of the event, and the international federation must love the quality of the host city and take benefit of it. But it's also, like in a wedding, in a marriage, you have to accept constraints. International events, you have many constraints, marketing constraints, media constraints. So you have, the host city should know the constraint before and accept them. Like in a wedding, like in a marriage, you have to build a mutual confidence. You cannot check everything. A host city cannot track evidence regarding the international federation, and the same thing. You have some confidence, you have also some project management to be sure that everybody is doing what he's supposed to do, but you have to build a mutual confidence. In a marriage, you have to share objectives. Here it's the same thing, the successful delivery of the event should be a common objective. And in a marriage, you have to be aware of the difference. The objective of the international federation, all the objectives maybe are not exactly the same that for the host city. But you have to know it and to accept the difference, to be aware of the difference. And it's a new form of wedding because at the end of the event, it will be the end. Even if the marriage is very happy, everybody is happy, there will be a separation at the end. That's the limited time of the wedding. Conclusion 2, and it will be the last slide. For a host city, you should and you must be active, and you should and must be smart. It's not a concrete example, it's just to illustrate what I want to say. P is promotion, E economy, S social impact, and U urban development. Without doing nothing, you will have automatic effects. If the host city is not doing anything, for example, as a host city of the FIFA World Cup, in terms of promotion, of action, people will come in the city. You will have an economic impact. Your city will be exposed as a worldwide because people in the media will tell the name of your city, will say the name of your city. Okay, so you have automatic effects. But you can have additional effects with, I told you before, with resources, human and financial resources, you can find a way to multiply the short-term effect, additional short-term effect in all the aspects, promotion, economy, social and urban development. And also, if you are smart, you can have long-term effects. You can work to, after the event, to be sure to ensure that there will be a legacy, a long-term legacy in terms of brand, of promotion, brand of the city, brand of the country, of economy, of social impact, and of urban development. And be active, be smart can be two qualities for the happy marriage. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor. Now we'll take questions. If you have any, you can please post your queries here, and we will be more than happy to answer those queries. I will answer any question with regard to admissions in the program, and any query or question you have with respect to the presentation, I will request the faculty to address them. So Vijay is asking a question: what is the fee amount for doing this course? 7,70,000 is the tuition fees, plus the program also includes 2 weeks trip to Paris, and that would cost another 2 lakhs. So overall expenses you're looking at is around 9.5 lakhs. Do I get any fee discount? Yes, we do offer scholarships which are need based and merit based. And if you fit into any of these criteria, we will offer you the allotted scholarship. So the next question is, how do developing countries with poor infrastructure organize such big events? So I'm handing this over to the faculty.
Clearly it's a challenge for developing countries to meet the requirements of Olympic Games, FIFA World Cup, because the needs of this country are not so high. For example, in South Africa, the soccer, the football ecosystem was not ready to have world class venue to have an economic model. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and if the national politicians are not aware of the gap between the requirements and the needs, you will have, like in Athens, in Montreal, you will have a long-term debt, because it's not only to build the facilities, to build the infrastructure, it's also to operate and to maintain. So it will affect definitely the finance in the long term if the gap is too big between the requirements. For example, for FIFA World Cup you need at least 9, and maybe later with 48 teams, maybe 12 stadiums. If your football and sport ecosystem without the World Cup doesn't need the stadium, you must not bid for FIFA World Cup. You must not bid. There is many sport events to produce and to have positive outcomes. It's not necessarily to target the FIFA World Cup, the Olympic Games, or other big events. In your country, in an emerging or developing country, want to have a positive effect in sport, you can organize your Olympic Games, you can organize other events, not necessarily FIFA World Cup.
Thank you, Professor. I hope it answered your question. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask. So the next question is, how can a country prepare for organizing such events like Olympics or FIFA or World Cup?
A country when we say a country, and for example, that what is going on in Paris, you can say that the organizing committee will focus on delivering the event. Okay, so it's the job of the organizing committee. But a country, how a country can a country prepare to organize such events? Like I mentioned in the presentation, inside the government, you should have a dedicated team with experienced staff, with a lot of expertise to discuss, to work with the organizing committee and to liaise with other ministry. The same, exactly the same for the whole city. In Paris, in Tokyo, you have a dedicated team to ensure the smooth preparation and smooth delivery of the games, and also to involve all administration into the games. Okay, so how a country prepares such events? First is a strong expertise on event delivery for the organizing committee, and also some expertise inside the administration that are involved and necessary to hold the game. That's how a country can prepare to organize such events. And the second question could be how a country not only prepare to organize the event but to have a maximum impact. It's the same. I will have answered the same thing. People dedicated and focused on the objective to deliver the event and to have a positive legacy and a positive impact.
If you have any more questions, please you can go ahead and ask. Thank you, very informative. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your valuable time. People who could not attend this webinar, we will send the link of the recording to the students, and you can please go through that. And for any queries, please feel free to call us or email us, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with your queries. Thank you very much for your time, and you have a great weekend. Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much. This is great. Do you want some coffee?
No,
Tea?
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, looks like you don't need much of coffee.
Huh?
You don't drink much of coffee?
Yes, yeah, but not in the afternoon.
Not in the afternoon.
I'm focusing on the morning.
Great. Let's see if I have to stop the recording.
Can I stay here? I will correct the code.
Yeah, please.
I will, it will be done, and I will give you all the
Yes.
all the copies.
Sure. Take this out.
One second.